Welcome to my favorite Chennai temple, the Kapaleeshwarar Temple of Mylapore. Mylapore comes from the local word for peacock, and that's why you will see a lot of peacock motifs all across the temple. This stems from two legends, one about Shiva being worshipped in the form of peacock in this area, and Parvati having come down as a peahen at some point of time and worshipped Shiva in this temple. Look at this amazingly carved gopuram. I really feel I could stand looking at each and every carving and it would take such a long time. The main deity of this temple is Kapaleeshwarar, which stands for the Lord with the skull. So I find it a very interesting mix of the Lord as the peacock and the Lord with the skull being part of the same temple. As the devotees rush in and out, nobody's taking time to read the information that's given on this board. I urge you to read it if you're here because it's really interesting. Like, for example, Ptolemy, the Greek geographer, I don't know if that's even a word, has referred to Mylapore as Mylarfa, a well-known seaport, and other important information about the festivals and special services, etc. As we enter, we see two small shrines. One is of Annamalayar, who is in Tiruvannamalai, and we see even the internal gopurams are so well carved. But wait a second, why is this gopuram facing the other side? And when we entered the main eastern gopuram, why is it that we see two small shrines? What about the main shrine? So we need to go to the back street of the temple, which leads us to the west facing gopuram. It's a quaint little back street. I prefer this entrance simply because it cuts out that little bit chaotic feeling of the main entrance. Here we have this beautiful pond, and water always brings a sense of peace and calm. There are these beautiful offerings that one can take. And here is the western entrance, which is of course a lot smaller with a much smaller gopuram but also well carved. And as you can see, the entrance from here leads us to the Dhwajastambha and Bali Peetham. This is a reminder for people to bow down, leave their nonsense here before entering the deity chamber. Again, you see the peacock and the wild Shiva together. Kapaleeshwarar's consort in this temple is Parvati in the form of Kalpagambal. Kalpagam being the wish-fulfilling tree, so you can see the tree motif also. These decorations are special because it was the Pongal festivities when I had visited. And one of the rituals is that on one of the days the Nandi in all of these temples are very grandly decorated. So once we see the Nandi, we can enter the two main shrines. One is of Kapaleeshwarar himself and the other of his consort Kalpagambal. So you see, if we enter from this side, then all the gopurams and inner temples are facing us in the right direction. The reason this temple is one of my favorites in Chennai is because there was a time when I visited a lot of the Chennai temples within one day, kind of a temple trail, if you can say. And this is the temple I most remember. I was sitting in this mandapam. I didn't even enter the sanctum sanctorum because it was so crowded, but I just sat in the mandapam and I felt so nice. And it's been in my memory, so that is why I decided to visit it again. I was missing this place. Now, obviously, I haven't shot anything inside the sanctum sanctorum because firstly, it's not allowed, and secondly, that is just a place to experience, to be honest. So there's a Goshalai there, and this was a big, the Pongal festivities include a lot to do with the cattle, but at this time the Goshalai was closed. But I managed to peep at the cattle from this grill window. Hello there, cattle folk. So there are a lot of small shrines in this temple, and I would need a lot of time to go to each one of them and find the stories, which I may do over time if I end up spending more time at this temple for whatever reason. This is the kitchen hall, which also has really nice carvings on top. Some renovation work is going on. This is the special pass window, and I highly recommend them. It allows you to go and sit inside the sanctum sanctorum, which is really wonderful.